Hello, welcome. Welcome into Let's Talk Sports. Generally with Rick and Jack, but Jack has been on a bit of hiatus. And we got a special NFL show today with my good friends that were in last week. Mr. Dennis Van, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Ken Sidley, the Phantom, welcome back. It was a fun week last week. We had some ups, some downs all around, but all in all, I think all of us had one, right?
It's good football.
We all had winners.
All had winners, yeah.
You were
I had two.
plus two. You were
I
plus
had two, I think.
You were plus two. Sorry, I was plus five. But I said I would be plus six. But you know, these guys are pros. I just close my eyes and go like this. Anyways, I want to stop for a moment and first of all, thank you all. Thank you for all of you for watching our shows here, particularly this NFL playoff show. It's really a lot of fun, and these guys are really, really good at what they do, and they analyze it and study it, and it's a lot of fun. You know, the games over the weekend, it was a lot of blowouts, as you guys know.
Yep.
But I wanted to stop and thank a couple of our viewers who really, I got a couple of guys over there in Arizona, Eric and Evan Manarino, who follow me like they follow the Bible. They follow every verse in it and believe it. They went with me on my games, and both Eric and Evan had a great weekend. I wanted to call them out because they are guys that are blind faith and always take my bets, and fortunately they were real productive this weekend. Also, I want to shout out one of my friends out in Detroit who's a big follower of this show. Ken alerted me to this. Rick Sidlazak, great follower. He's out in Detroit area, a lot of friends. We got a good following over there. And Rick, thank you for watching the show. Thank you for being faithful to what we do here. And I want to thank you all. I can't name everybody. Our following and our viewership continues to go up. Please continue to like the show, like what we're doing. Let's talk a little bit of NFL. Let's regress a minute and talk about what was your prominent thought over the weekend and what happened in the playoffs. What surprised you the most, Dennis?
The Raider game, and I would say the end was what the big surprise.
How it was handled by the Raiders
exactly.
down on the goal line.
Yes.
First and goal from the 8 with every chance to tie the game, you mean?
Yes, all that.
Let me ask you this question. Both of you guys, this thought was prominent in my head as I'm watching the game. I'm thinking and I'm watching this game and I'm saying, well, they're on the 8. They got plenty of time. When they score, are they going to go for 2 or are they going to kick a field goal and go into overtime? What do you think they would have done? Would they have gone for 2 and just been, maverick and done that? Or what is Pasacci brave enough to do that and be criticized for it if they don't make it? I was like, I wonder if they're going to go for 2. And it wouldn't have been a bad play. What do you think?
I don't think they would have.
You don't think they would have? No. Ken, you say? No. They would have tied it. I wish that would have happened because that was the one game I lost. And, I was, and we all had we all lost that game. But we had a lot of faith in the Raiders. And you take away the 14 penalties. You take away three holding penalties on the same drive. Who gets 30 yards worth of holding penalties on the same drive? And they only got a field goal out of it. Unbelievable. John over here, our great producer, Mr. John Stiles, is shaking his head saying, I can't believe it either.
Even I wouldn't do that.
Even John wouldn't do that. Even John wouldn't have lost that game. And, that's our producer deluxe over there. Ken, what was your prominent thought of games over the weekend?
The Raider game was one, but what I did was that number is 6.5 or 6 that it was at, I bought it up to 7. So I'm sitting there on a push.
Yeah, on a push.
And I felt good about that, but I said, geez, I could win this thing. It didn't need that much, but didn't happen.
Didn't happen. For me, it was definitely, and I don't know for all of you what was prominent in your mind, but what really sticks out is how well Buffalo and the Rams played. I mean, they both played very well. And Kenny, you've always told me over the years, and again, you're one of the best prognosticators I know, no team is as good as they look week to week, and no team is as bad as they look week to week.
That's right.
So, I mean, those two teams played very well, though. I can't imagine that they both won't go on, but Buffalo's got to go to Kansas City, and the Rams are going to, have to go to Tampa. So those are tough games, but did you see any particular things that tell you that this is really the team that is on the right track? Which team stood out more than any for you guys? For me, again, it was Buffalo and the Rams, and I thought everybody else was okay. I don't think they were great, but the Buffalo and the Rams were just unbelievable.
Well, I would say the way the Rams handled Arizona, going out to the lead And then Murray made the huge mistake on the interception,
Boy, that was terrible. For a professional.
and that was
That's a
it.
game. Well, what a mistake. I mean, just throwing the ball. I mean, basically just throwing it in the air. And I mean, you know, I felt I was the guy who believed so much in the Rams in this playoff game, and I was the guy that believed so much in Buffalo. I put away all that Belichick thought in Murray, and Arizona's going to come back around. I just think that both Buffalo and the Rams are built to be Super Bowl teams, and that's the way they built themselves. And throughout the year, I was thinking about this. You know, week 8, week 9, week 10, you're a little bit tired. You're not every game you're not playing. The NFL is so tough, and there's so many injuries, and it's such a tough game that you can't get mentally ready every week. But when the playoffs come, the teams that are built for the playoffs and that are healthy, you know, are going to be successful. And that's just how I feel about it. And it was there was nothing that really surprised me. Again, we all had the Raiders. We all had the 49ers. I mean, kudos to this panel and whoever else. You know, it was a gutsy call because Dallas, first of all, they have as many fans around the world as any. People love the Dallas. I know here in Vegas, Dallas crazy. After the Raiders, or you know, in conjunction with the Raiders, they love three teams here: Raiders, Dallas, and Pittsburgh. That's the big ones here. And again, Pittsburgh looked terrible.
Well, you know, the other thing too that I've watched over the years is a team that's good, which are good teams playing now.
Yeah.
The ones that keep going, they get ahead by 10 points, they keep going, 17, 24. They don't let up throughout the game. You had Kansas City do that last week. You had Buffalo do that. And, you know, they just keep pouring it on. And that's a sign of a good, solid team when they play 60 minutes.
I mean, you look at that Kansas City Pittsburgh game. It was no score at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and
then J.J. Watt gets that interception.
Fumble.
Fumble. And he takes it in and, you know, slides into the end zone. I guess he's T.J. Watt, not J.J. Watt. J.J.'s in Arizona, but T.J. Watt. I always call them all I call all three of them J.J. But T.J., who's quite a player, by the way, he's probably going to get Defensive Player of the Year. Makes that play, and it's 7-0, and I'm like, oh, goodness. Maybe Pittsburgh today, but boy, Kansas City got going. There's a team. Can anybody score quicker than Kansas? What did they score? 21 points in 3 minutes and something?
I mean, they're fast. They speed.
Is that the team? Is Buffalo? What's going to happen there? We'll analyze all this, but from start to finish. But I couldn't help but want to recap last week and just I was amazed by the teams that won and how well they played. Other than Cincinnati, I don't think Cincinnati played better than the Raiders. The Raiders beat themselves. I don't know if Cincinnati's going to be better this week or not. But the thing about it is, some of those teams played really well. But I really felt like there were teams that didn't belong in the playoffs. I believe New England didn't belong in the playoffs.
Right.
They played in the weakest division. There's not very much talent there behind Buffalo. There really was not much talent in that division. And you look at a team like Dallas, what an El Foldo. But again, I based all that on Dallas losing to the 49ers. You guys may have based it differently, but I based that all upon they had no competition in their division, and they were beating teams that were no good. And how good was Dallas really? But, you know, as you guys know, Jerry Jones was very disappointed. And his son, said he was very confident that, you know, the head coach was going to be back, McCarthy. But you guys think he's going to be back in Dallas? Is he going to be there? I mean, that guy's not a good coach. I'm sorry.
I think it depends on who
Mike
becomes
McCarthy,
available.
in my opinion, is not a good football coach. He got out-coached. Let's face it. He got out-coached in that game.
I think they'll keep him just because historically, if he says somebody's staying, there's nobody to overrule him.
Yeah.
And
but his son said it. So is the father didn't the hammer hasn't come down from the father yet. And is he going to back up the son, and they're going to keep McCarthy?
You know what often happens is...
Tell me.
They say, okay, you're going to stay, but Joe Blow, the defensive coordinator, or the quarterback's coach, or whoever, you got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And then the coach says, no, I control who's my coaches.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is this is very interesting, and I've watched a lot of programming on it. They say that they should give the job to the defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, of course, who was, you know, is coached in the league. They said they're going to lose him to another team if they don't keep him there. So what do? Do you let him go, who did a great job with that defense? Do you let him go and keep McCarthy, or do you find a way to keep them both?
Yeah.
I don't think you can find a way to keep them both.
Well, New England does.
Well, that's a different situation because they pay so much. They pay their offensive coordinator as much as coaches are making.
Yeah.
But it's just every year it's something with Dallas. Again, they were built for success. Their own owner said that. He said he doesn't think he's had a more disappointing event in his whole career with Dallas. In his whole time with Dallas, he said, I can't tell you how disappointed I am in this team. How do you keep the head coach? You know what I was surprised about? I was really surprised that Brian Flores got fired in Miami. That was the one fire that really, what did they win? 7 in a row? I know they started,
Yeah,
were they
started a nice
0-7
streak.
and they won. Anyways, they just missed the playoffs, but I guess based on the fact that they didn't win early, that guy had changed
the whole
them
culture.
in a positive direction.
He changed their culture.
It's a good word, Ken, the whole culture. What happened there in Miami with Flores? That was a big surprise for me.
Well, they're still kicking around trying to get or thinking about getting Watson from Houston.
God, what a mess.
And
What
how do
a
you even
mess.
think about that kind of stuff when there's a good chance the league might not even let him play, or the guy could be in jail?
Yeah, that's what a story, and it ruined Houston. It ruined teams that were trying to get them. It ruined cultures. That culture.
I think
they
they're
should have just got. It's just like I don't want to jump right into basketball, but Ben Simmons not the problem in Philadelphia. The kid just sits and they pay him and get something for him. But a lot of teams didn't want to take Watson, right? Because of the possibility of.
absolutely.
But there
not.
was nothing happened this year, so he would have been able to play for somebody this year. But I guess the league hasn't come down on him yet. They're waiting for more information. Is that what it is?
That's what we're told.
Yeah. Who did the best coaching job this week? Who did the best coaching job this week in the NFL? Ken, what do you think? In those playoffs, the first week of playoffs, as they call it, Super Wild Card Weekend. Who did the best coaching job?
I think probably 49ers.
Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan.
Because everything else was not coaching. There were blowouts.
Yeah.
And Shanahan did a great job.
You agree?
I agree.
Yeah, I do too. It's glaring. He did a great job. He goes into Dallas against great odds, and they have a lot of guys coming back from injury, and some guys playing very, very well. But I thought that Garoppolo was going to find a way to lose it. When he threw that interception, I was like, oh my God,
here we go.
oh my God, they're coming back. And then I just thought they were going to keep coming back, and I was very concerned because we all. I think that was our key quality play.
I
of
think
the
that
weekend.
was more because of Bosa getting hurt, and
Yeah,
I forgot the
and
other
Werner,
guy's
the middle
name.
linebacker got hurt.
Yeah, and
he got hurt. The guy from BYU
those
was
are
so good.
two of their standout
Top.
defensive players,
Yeah.
and without them, that's when Dallas started to turn things around.
But,
So
but the 49ers just kept coming. And it was interesting because they had that great defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, who was so great in the years of these last several years, and then went to the Jets. Now he's the head coach over there. He probably regrets that, but they're going to keep him. But I was surprised. I really was surprised how well the 49ers played. We were all key on that. Two of our chanciest bets were the 49ers and the Raiders. We went 50-50, and then the other ones, pretty much everybody got killed. There were 4 blowouts there, but it was a fun weekend. Congratulations on your successes. It was fun. I hope you all had success. I hope you took a combination of what we recommended and figured out some ways. If you did that, you won some money. If you went exclusively with Ken or Dennis, you won. You were up 2 games. If you went with me, you were up 5 games. It doesn't really matter. They're much better at this than me. I just got a little bit lucky. So we're going to get into these big 4 games coming up. It's a lot of fun. 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Let us know what you're picking. Let us know if you liked our show last week. This show is going to have a lot of good information, but we're going to start. You guys want to start with the first game of the weekend, Cincinnati at Tennessee. Dennis, what you thinking about that? What is it? -3.5? Is that what you guys have?
I personally think it's going to go down to 3.
I think it'll go to 3.
I would wait.
Okay. I'm going to wait till Friday.
But both teams have been good against the spread this year. Cincinnati is 11-7. Tennessee
Information.
10-7. Cincinnati's won 75%, covered 75% of their road games. Tennessee's covered 66% of their home games. They're going to need Derrick Henry,
He's going to be back.
and
How effective he'll be,
they
we
can
don't know.
control the game with him.
Yeah, well, the funny thing about it is, and they made this point, they've been just as good without him. They've had a good running game, and I saw some stats on ESPN about that, and it was practically even when he was there and when he wasn't there, their ability to run the football. And I think that Tennessee has surprised everybody by continuing to win. Ken, what are your thoughts?
My thought is that Cincinnati is weak on that one side. They got some injuries. And I think that's what they're going to exploit, meaning Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I think they'll move the ball pretty well on the ground there. But I think coming back the other way, I think Cincinnati will be able to pass on Tennessee. So it could be the equalizer in there. So it's kind of one of those, whoever's got the ball last may win that game.
When you say Cincinnati can pass on Tennessee,
Their pass defense
do you
isn't
think that
good.
the defensive backfield, is it injuries? What is it? They're just not good back there?
I just don't think they've shown it all year. People who pass have been able to put points on the board.
You think Burrow's the man to beat them?
Why not?
You think he's capable?
Why not?
Sophomore,
I hope
second
so.
year.
I hope so.
He sure got swag.
I hope so.
You're going to go
I took
Cincinnati.
him MVP
You MVP, huh?
out 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
Oh, that's right. You talked about that. You made a bet. What were the odds at that
Gee, I
time?
can't remember right now. I looked at it the other day. I can't remember, but I'm a $20 bettor, so I think I'd get back 800 or something like that. It was pretty high.
That's nice.
So we'll see.
What's your thoughts on that game, Dennis?
I'm going to take Tennessee.
And right now it's 3.5. You think it'll go to 3? You're going to
I
take Tennessee
think
and
it's
give
going to
it
go to 3. Last 12 games when it's been 6.5 or under in this round of the divisional playoffs, 7-5 for the favorites. The over-unders, the last 34, you have 19 overs,
Well,
13 unders, and 2 pushes.
so you're gonna go with Tennessee, and you're gonna take the under or the over?
Over. I'm
Gonna go
taking
under,
it over in
He
every.
had all unders last week. Remember, with unders you went what, 4-2?
Yes, 4-2.
You bet all unders, right?
Yes,
last
I
week?
did.
So this week, pay attention. This show moves quick. Dennis, who's very good at this, is going to take Tennessee, give the points, whether it's 3, 3.5, it doesn't matter. If it's 3.5, he'll still take them, and bet the over. Ken is going to go with Cincinnati and take the points.
No. Like I say, I think the last team that has the ball last, and Tannehill has shown that he can do it.
So you say
I'm gonna
Tennessee.
say
You said
Tennessee.
Burrow's going to be MVP, though. You
Well,
wouldn't bet on the
well.
team with the MVP?
I'm buying insurance.
You're a little iffy on that one, Kenny.
I like Tennessee.
You're Tennessee?
I like Tennessee to win the game. Possible, but I got to tell you, it's going to be tight.
Well,
I hope it goes down to 3.
I'm. My belief is that, first of all, Cincinnati at home beat a very, very average Raider
Average
team.
team, right?
Yeah, that's concerning to me. Very concerning to me, because the Raiders really could have won that game. You take away half of those penalties, and they probably win. Tennessee is rested, poised. The infusion of Derrick Henry in the lineup is going to make them all pumped up. They're well coached. I think Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the NFL, if not given 10 points. I'll give the 3.5. I'll give 4. I actually will give 5 or 6. But I think that's a gift, and I think Tennessee will win by 10 or more.
Well, there's
So
some
we all agree
Interesting
that Tennessee.
stat on Vrabel. When he's got 8 days or better to prepare for a game, he's 8-0.
Thank you.
So-
Did you hear that? That is a compelling point right there. That statistic
8-0.
right there usually will run true, but again, we've seen funnier things happen.
Yep, we have.
But I think we're all very passionate about the fact that Tennessee at home with a great coach, and I think a capable defense is going to do well. So we all agree on Tennessee and the over.
I don't do
Yes.
totals.
I don't either.
I don't do totals.
For Dennis's followers, a lot of people do. You know, a lot of people do strictly over under. They don't even take. I'm strictly like I'm an odds better, and you know I don't do this middle and all these different things. It's 3.5. I'll take Tennessee, and I say they'll win by 10 or more. So we're all pretty much in agreement. You guys aren't giving me how much you're going to win by. You say it's very tight. You say it's very tight. So we'll see what happens. Game number 2. I think it's about 5:15 over here in Vegas on the West. 49ers at Green Bay. Packers given 6. That number's probably going to go up, isn't it?
It already did go up.
Is it more than 6?
It started at 5.
Yeah,
or 5
right.
and a half.
Well, it has gone up, and that's I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a touchdown. I think the Niners are in very tough in Green Bay. Ken?
I think that Green Bay's going to show them how it's done. I can't see Garofalo playing below 40 degrees.
What's the projected temperatures?
2
degrees
2 degrees.
in this game?
That's what I saw.
Maron.
It's going to be cold.
Dennis?
I agree with Ken. Green Bay's undefeated at home this year. That's a great start.
It's an unbelievable start. They got the best receiver in football.
They have stumbled at the end of the year. They're 1-4 against the spread. Their last 5 games.
Oh boy, they hung on in a few games. I'm telling you,
they're
down the stretch.
They're undefeated at home. San Francisco has finished strong. They're 5-1.
Finished great
against the spread the last 6 games.
Finished strong.
You know, like we had said previously, with having Warner and Bosa injured, we don't know.
Warner.
We don't know about his shoulder too. Doesn't Garoppolo got a
Garoppolo's shoulder.
Yeah, they said he's going to be okay. For me, I look at it as this. I believe the 49ers left the rest of their season on that field in Dallas. I mean, that was a rough, very physical game on both sides of the ball. And the Niners, they were all in. They were bound and determined to win that game. And they have been. We used the word trending last week, and it really came true. Teams trending up and trending down, and that's exactly what happened. That's who won. The teams who were trending up, teams trending down lost. I think the 49ers have definitely been one of the best trending up teams of late. But I just think they left it all on the field. I don't think that they're going to have enough wherewithal to go into Green Bay and beat them. 6 points is a lot in at this round of the playoffs, but the Niners are so gritty, and Shanahan is such a great coach, and that's a really they feel it in their heart, and that's why I love the NFL so much. That's truly a team that has heart. Down 17-0 to the Rams when they had to win that game to get a playoff spot.
They did it,
and they did it. And they really came back and beat the Rams up pretty good. And then they go, I think there just has been so much mental pressure on them the last 2 weeks that I think they've come to the end of the road mental-wise. Mentally, I think that must be a very tired team. And I would have to, and based on that, I mean, Green Bay hasn't played. You guys know you're great at this. Teams that don't play for 2 weeks sometimes come out very soft the first quarter, and they get behind and. A lot of teams that get too much rest don't play well because they lose the mental edge.
Yeah, but
2 weeks off, it helped Rodgers, right? It helped his toe.
I'm not going to go against Rodgers in that game.
Well, he did play a little in the
in the last game.
Yeah, so
Detroit.
I think we're all in agreement that it's going to be Green Bay, and they're going to cover that 6, and I think it's the end of the road for the 49ers. I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners won. They're on that kind of a roll. It would not surprise me. But it would surprise me, and that's how it is with me. It's like, if they win, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Well, every one of these games, the spread is under
Close.
6.
It's not just 13 points like with Pittsburgh, and we had a 10.5. And I mean, is this game going to go over a lot of points scored?
I think so.
Yeah.
Even into cold.
Yeah.
For you over/under bettors, I think it's going to be. I agree with you. I think it's going to be a lot of points.
That game they played earlier in the year, Green Bay played at San Fran.
Yeah.
And they had to come back late with that field goal to win the game at the buzzer.
Yeah.
30-28 or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
One of the things about that game is the Dabo Sweeney factor. That kid is a good ball player, man.
He's an animal.
That guy is unbelievable. Dabo.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that his name, Dabo?
Dabo Sweeney.
Yeah,
Dabo,
yeah.
Dabo.
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 I know him as Dabo. It's easy to remember.
But he gets rolling. He's rolling.
Yeah. So yeah, man. He runs the ball well. He catches the
Yep.
ball well. He's a good ball player, Dabo. So he could be a difference maker. But I think the 49ers are a warm weather team, man. I mean, it rains in San Francisco a lot. I got to go with Green Bay. So we agree on that. Game number 3, the illustrious Los Angeles Rams versus Tampa Bay and Tom Brady.
This is ugly.
What kind of game is this? What kind of game is it? Are the
Again,
Rams going to go down to Tampa and get their ass handed to them?
Again, it's tough.
What do you guys think?
It's tough to go against Brady. It really is. No matter what.
It was tough to go against Belichick last week, though.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Brady's Belichick's son, so.
yeah,
that's right.
they're from the same
But
cloth. So maybe they're going to have the same fortunes.
Brady's hurt with some receivers, isn't he? Is what I remember.
Well, as long as you got Mike Evans.
Is he 100? He's not 100% though.
Well,
is he?
Mike has been hurt all year, but
I
that
know.
guy, man, he catches the
But I
football,
think
doesn't he?
This
And Gronk,
yeah,
and they got that guy
yeah.
Brait, another tight end who's very good. So he's got a couple good tight ends there.
You look at Von Miller's in there,
Evans,
Aaron Donald. Those two guys are going to be coming at him all day long.
Aaron Donald is a beast.
Oh,
He
Jesus.
is.
So I'm looking at, I say to myself, well, this guy off the field is a pretty nice guy, but I'm watching him. There's a little skirmish there, and there's like grabbing the guy's neck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he's trying to put his fist across his face, and I'm saying, you know what? He's not such a nice guy.
Is that the guy I met the other night?
Yeah, did you see him
Yeah.
grabbing that
Oh,
number
yeah.
74 that offered
yeah,
the tackle?
yeah.
Grabbing him by, did you see, grabbing the dude by the throat? And I'm like, man, no wonder he's been defensive player twice. This guy is but man, the way they just keep coming at
They
Rams
do.
front.
They do. Boy.
Well,
And now they got Von Miller. He's playoff savvy. He had a pretty good game. He really hadn't done that much. But, they got Leonard Floyd, number 54, who's also good. People don't give him enough credit on the other side.
Yep.
And I'm like, they got an average linebacking crew. But, their DBs are good. They're decent. They got a couple guys hurt. But they brought, Weddle back, who had played with the Chargers, and he was about 100 years old. They brought him back in to play safety. But what do you think, Dennis? I mean,
well,
you going
I agree
Brady?
with Ken as far as it's hard to go against Brady. However, when Brady gets a tough game, it's usually because the other team has a very good front four
That's right.
and, gives them a hard time. And this certainly is a team that can do it. I think Tampa's going to have to stuff the Rams' running game and make Stafford beat them. Tampa, their last 9 games, they're 7-2 against the spread. Rams, 5-2 against the spread, their last 7.
Wow.
So
All
both
important information.
are pretty hot.
Yeah. Is this the best game of the weekend?
I don't know. I think that Kansas City Buffalo
Yeah.
might be,
This is
a real shootout.
This is a pretty good game. I mean,
It is a good game.
it's people again. Tom Brady. I don't think that Tampa has been that great this year. I think they've been an up and down ball club. -3. I think the Rams are going to be pretty tough. To me, the most important thing about that Tampa Bay team is that defense. Those 2 linebackers, White and David, those guys are unbelievable. If you watch, I think it's 45 and 54. I try to give numbers out so a lot of people don't remember names. But those 2 guys, man, they are sideline to sideline. That defensive line sets them up to make tackles. And if White and David are on their game, those 2 linebackers, and just like they were in the Super Bowl, you watch that. You go back and watch that Super Bowl game against Kansas City. Those 2 guys dominated the game, and then you got a decent front four and you got a decent defensive backfield. But those linebackers, they make the difference in Tampa Bay's defense. Again, you guys are right. You got to stop the Ram game. All of a sudden, Cam Akers is back. Nobody expected him to be back. And then you got Sony Michel, who was with New England, who was a good running back at New England. You got Michelle, a combination of Sony Michel and Akers. It's a good running game. And then you got arguably one of the best. The stats say he's the best. Cooper Kupp, he's great. You got that kid Jefferson from Florida who's coming around. You got some good tight ends there. The Rams look pretty tough. Defensively, I don't think anybody's better than them. Do you?
No.
You do? I mean, Kansas City's defense. Do you think Buffalo's defense is better than the Rams? Buffalo's defense is pretty good. By the way,
it is very good.
This is another game. If
it's a
you're
turnover
going to
game.
take Tampa, I would say wait.
Yeah.
This game is already starting to trend down. I've seen Tampa at -3 even money, so it could go under that
Under 2.5.
magic 3 down to 2.5.
Yeah,
I want to wait on that.
You get that Brady factor. It's like big games like this. If he's got time to do what he needs to do, he's going to do it. He's so acclimated to games like this. Stafford isn't acclimated to games like this, and he played pretty good in the beginning of that Rams game, but as the game went on, he didn't play that well.
Stafford didn't have to the second half, though, in his defense.
Stafford scares me, though. But I still think, for me, in the end, the Rams are going to win that game. I still believe it's going to be the Rams and Buffalo in the Super Bowl. I didn't want to give that out too early, but I said that in the first show of the season. Right off the bat, my first NFL show, I said Rams and Buffalo. Well, I could be right and I could be totally wrong.
Yep.
I could be sickeningly wrong. But let's recap
I
there.
think-
You guys really didn't give me your picks. Ken?
I'm going to go back on that one. I think they're going to set the tone real early in that game. If Tampa can get to Stafford and rattle them,
It's huge.
it's going to be huge. But can they calm them down and get them settled back in to get into the flow of the game? And I think that's going to be the goal of Tampa, is to go in and rattle them.
I think,
early.
but I think the Rams' first goal is going to be to run the football.
Sure.
They definitely want to come at you with Akers and Michelle. Akers, he's got fresh legs. He didn't play all year,
he's
and I was really kind of
solid.
shocked that he really sliced and diced that defense, Arizona. But I never felt that Arizona was known for their
Much of
defense
it,
this
right.
year.
Correct.
I really didn't, and but you still think Tampa's going to win it?
No, I'm going Rams.
You're going Rams.
I'm going Rams.
I'm taking Tampa.
You're taking Tampa.
I'm going Rams.
I'm going to go Rams.
Okay.
I just think that the Rams are the better team, and that Rams defense, I think that Brady's going to have a tough time. But again, the Rams got one of the things that might be very compelling, and you got to really watch this. The Rams got a couple of safeties hurt and out, and I think one of them might be back. But when you got a guy like Eric Weddle, who was a fine player in his day, that guy, they brought him back last week, and he didn't have to play a lot, fortunately for him, but I think Brady might try to throw the ball long and be successful with it. And, you get a couple of good long ones and you get the time. It's all about how much time are you going to get to throw. Hey, the Rams are coming, man. The Rams are coming. And I don't think Tampa doesn't have a great running game.
No.
They do not have a great running game. But why? Give me a little bit more, Dennis. Why are you going with Tampa?
2 things.
Okay.
Tom Brady
Okay. That's a good one.
and just history.
Brady and history. So you think Brady and history is going to be the downfall for the Rams?
Yes.
The Rams, you wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won, though, right?
No, of course not. I wouldn't be surprised
Any of these.
if any of these underdogs.
we've said that.
And, somebody might want to just bet all the underdogs on the money line
Yeah.
and get the extra
Yeah.
juice or the extra benefit. Even if it winds up 2-2, you're going to make money.
Yeah. These are 4 good. They got it right. They got the playoffs at this level right. They got rid of the teams. As I said, there were three teams that didn't belong in the playoffs, in my opinion. They had to make Philadelphia. Come on, man. Well, that was horrible. Hey, Pittsburgh. Come on, man. New England. Come on, man. I mean, those were not good football teams. Arizona, I'm surprised they got beat that bad. But so Ken and I, we're definitely going Rams, even though Ken is worried about the Brady factor. We always worry about the Brady factor, but somehow, some way, I think it's not Tampa's year. You're going with Tampa.
Yes.
And you gave me the reasons. I just think the Rams are flat out a better football team. Going on the road and the Brady factor could be the difference. Again, it's turnovers. All these games, every one of these games is going to turn on a turnover. Every one of these games is going to turn on some freaky thing that happens turnover-wise, fumble or interception, or maybe a kickoff return or a punt return, or it's going to be something that's going to be surprising in every one of these games that the game is going to turn on, except for maybe Green Bay. I think Green Bay is, Aaron Rodgers is cuckoo crazy about proving everybody wrong, and you for giving him trouble about the COVID lies, and he's a crazy guy. Last game.
I think though that this whole weekend, I wouldn't be surprised if there's 2 overtime games. That's how tight.
Very well could happen. I hope so.
You know.
I love watching it.
So
We're
there's
a couple. Ken and I are a couple guys that watch, the games pretty closely. Dennis is a believer that he doesn't want to watch these games and sweat and be up and down and all his fingernails be down to nothing and fingers bloodied from biting his fingernails. Dennis doesn't even watch these games. He's on to the next action for the next day, but he's a serious guy right here. I gotta watch these games. I love it because I'm a fan. Win or lose, I got lucky last week. This week I could go 0-4. Well, that means we would go pretty bad. But last game of a great NFL playoff weekend. Buffalo versus Kansas City. That's your game of the weekend, right?
Icing on the cake.
Well, I really
Well,
like.
then we'll start with you.
I really like the over.
You
in
really
this-
like
in
the
this
over in
game.
this game.
It's at 55, wasn't it?
54.5 I have. And
Wow, this is going to be a shootout,
They,
man. I think you're right with that over. If you make only one bet this weekend, I think the over of the Kansas City Buffalo game is the play. What'd you
Kansas
say
City's
that?
11-7 on overs. Buffalo's 9-9 on their over-unders. As far as point spread record, Kansas City is 9-9. But remember, they started off terribly,
yeah, right.
so they've certainly been on the uptick.
1-3.
Buffalo is good against the points this year, 10-6-2, and they had to lay the big numbers a lot of those games.
Yeah.
So that's definitely in their favor for that.
I think it's a great bet, the over.
But so I'm taking the over. I like Kansas City in the game.
Okay.
Just
You like
because
Kansas City, and you also like Tampa.
they're at home, and I think that's a big thing in their favor.
Well, it's interesting when you hear comments from Kelsey saying that if we don't go to the Super Bowl and win it this year, it's a wasted season. That's a lot of pressure he put on everybody. But if you believe it, and I mean, I heard it several times, and he was not hesitant. He blurted it right out several times. And they asked, and they asked a lot of the players about it, Mahomes, and they all said the same thing. Yeah, if we don't go to the Super Bowl and win it, it is a wasted season. That's a big statement.
Okay.
That's a big statement. Ken, what are your thoughts on this game? Dennis is adamant about Kansas City, and he loves
Right.
the 2.5 points. That's not a lot to be given.
Weather report. Mid-20s game time.
Okay, well, how does that affect
Okay.
these two teams?
Nothing yet. 5 to 10 in the wind and 3% chance of rain or snow.
Okay.
So
How does that affect this game?
I think it's a non-factor.
I agree with you.
No, it's
I
it
don't
doesn't
even
really
look
matter.
at the weather. Buffalo.
I think both teams, if you look at it, both teams are very solid teams. I give one slight edge to Buffalo in the quarterback. I think that he's going to not take anything away from Mahomes. He's excellent.
No.
But I think
Both great quarterbacks.
Josh Allen's got a little bit of an edge on him with strength, running. I think he's got more of a receiving core to throw to. He had six different receivers last week, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's going to be a solid player out there, and he's got that added dimension of that solid run.
Yeah, and it's a good point. I believe that the one team that really has no weaknesses, that they're strong everywhere, right down to special teams, is Buffalo. I believe Buffalo has no weakness. They run the ball well. They pass the ball well. Defensively, they're extremely strong in the back end. They're really good. They got a good linebacking core. Their special teams are good. I just think that Buffalo, when it's all said and done, it again, like the Rams, are built to go to the Super Bowl. So, I'm going to go with Buffalo. Dennis, again, you got these last couple games, Tampa Bay over the Rams, and you got KC over Buffalo, correct?
Yes.
And why? And again, since Ken and I both want Buffalo, I'll ask you again, is it strictly the Mahomes factor? Is it the Kelsey factor?
Not so much Mahomes. I just
What's the
being
factor?
at home. The other thing is, I've seen Allen. He's having
Falter?
a solid year.
Yeah, but he
I've
falters
seen him
in
make
big
some
games.
dumb things,
Yeah.
and I hate to knock the guy.
No. We're not knocking him. We're analyzing the game, and that's what this audience wants to see.
And I just and not to say the guy's going to get rattled or anything. It's just like one boneheaded thing.
Well, that's what we're
And
talking about.
if
The game's over.
that
One
goes
bonehead.
the other way.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a big 7 points are hard to overcome.
In games like
In a
this,
tight game
they're
like
very,
this.
very hard to overcome. And Mahomes just in games like this has that knack. And I mean, he throws the ball in all different angles and the movement. And I think that I still don't think that Kansas City line is that great. They improved it a lot from last year when there were so many holes in it, and they still made it to the Super Bowl, but it wasn't enough to beat Tampa Bay. I just think that offensive line is still not great, and I think that Buffalo's defensive front is going to put it to them. I really think that I don't know if Hilaire is going to be back. Are they saying Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, their good running back, who he was out last week, is he going to be back? They had this kid running that I didn't know who he was.
That I don't know.
That's big, but I'm definitely going to go with Buffalo. So we got a whole mixed bag here. But let's recap quickly. You're going to take all the overs on every game.
All the overs on every game.
Last week you took all the unders and you did okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me write that down. Dennis, all overs. Did you hear that? Dennis is real good about over unders. He plays that. All overs. And you're going to go with
All the favorites.
all the favorites.
And the home teams.
Yes,
The
and
home
the
teams.
Okay, so if you're paying attention, a guy who's really, really good at this, very knowledgeable, rarely loses, is going with all the overs in every game, despite the weather's going to be bad in 2 of them, going with all the overs, and he's going with all the favorites. Mr. Ken Sidley down there, the Phantom, likes Tennessee, right?
Green Bay,
Green Bay,
L.A.,
L.A.,
and the Buff.
and I'm 100% with you.
Now,
So
the other thing I
we
mentioned earlier,
got 2 different. This is going to be interesting again. Last week it was interesting, and you guys were together on a lot of stuff.
I mentioned earlier about overtime. I think there's going to be possibly 2 games that go overtime. If you have a chance at a prop bet, it might be a good prop bet.
That's a good point.
The 2 teams are Tennessee and Buffalo. Could be both
Okay,
overtime games.
you got that? Another one. Prop bets. I'm a funny bettor. I never bet like at the Super Bowl. People bet all these prop bets. I don't bet prop bets. I'm strictly a guy who bets odds, and you know that about me. Even in basketball, we talk a lot about NBA. By the way, as good as I am, I was 1-4 the other night.
You did good.
But 1 win and 4 losses. That was a bad night in the NBA for me. Thank God I had put a few extra coins on the Rams. You know what I bet on the Rams.
I don't want to get involved in whatever.
I know we don't want the IRS watches all these shows. Anything that give me one team that's something just so glaring that's going to win. If some of our bettors have enough money to play one game, they got one game to play. They can't play all 4 games. It's going to be a busy weekend. They're going to get to watch one game and play one game. This fine audience of ours. Who are you going to give them, Dennis?
I'll say 2.
Okay,
Over.
2 if you can watch 2.
Over in the Kansas City Buffalo.
Okay, over in
It's
Kansas City
54
Buffalo.
and a half. And Green Bay -6.
Hear that?
Yep.
Over Buffalo, Kansas City, and Green Bay -6 in Green Bay at 2 degrees weather. Ken,
I got to go Green Bay.
Green Bay is your team?
I have to go Green Bay.
You have to go Green Bay. I'm going to go Tennessee.
Okay.
I think the one team that is going to stand out. If I bet, I'll play more on that game. 3.5. I think 2 teams in this playoffs are done. Cincinnati and the 49ers. I don't believe either one of them will win, and I can't tell you what the point spread is going to be, if it's going to be over other. But I really think that Green Bay and Tennessee are going to shine. I think they're ready. They're well rested. They've had time to study these teams. That's a recipe for disaster against teams that had to play and then teams that have had 2 weeks to get ready. It's tough. the team that's getting ready has a real advantage. The other two games, man, I mean, Rams, Tampa, I mean, toss it up.
Yeah.
Hey, Buffalo, Kansas City, toss it up. But I think all four games are going to be competitive. In closing, any thoughts for our listeners? Anybody you want to shout out, Dennis?
No.
You know, you just
Pleasure to be
shout
here.
everybody
Thank
out.
you for the invitation.
Oh, our pleasure, and we'll do it again next week. And you know, it's great having you guys here. We miss our buddy Jack, but he's got so many things going on, puppies and all kinds of stuff. But we'll have Jack in hopefully next week for the show for the league championships. Ken, anything in closing?
Nothing in closing. No,
you want to tell this group other than it's fortunate to know a very wonderful, compelling gambler like myself that is so successful at this?
You know, you're humble is your middle name.
You know what?
And
I'm glad you noticed that. Richard Humble Manor. You know what's going to happen this week, don't you?
Oh no!
I said 6-0 last week. I said 6-0 last week. I was disappointed.
You
5-1.
I crash.
Can you imagine if you're a gambler? What kind of money you're a gambler? What kind of money you make on a 5-1 week?
That would be very nice.
Would be very nice. It's a pleasure to have you both on the show. This has been fun. You know, I do, as you all know, I do lots of different sports shows. NBA will be starting soon, but to have these two gentlemen, Mr. Dennis Van, tell our audience again how they can get a hold of you.
My website is Van Sports. It's vslasvegas.com. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Ken, you can get him at phantom, right?
Yeah, right.
Is that
right.
correct?
Yeah, forget the dots.
Again,
Thank you all.
It's unlisted.
thank you all.
And thanks,
Dennis,
Rick. Dennis,
thank you. Ken,
good
thank you.
show. Appreciate
Thanks for watching us. Our viewer audience has been great. Continue to like us. Watch us over there on Roku TV also and some of the other social media outlets, YouTube and those type of things. We're all over the place. This show will be on Roku, and you can watch it on your big screen before the games. Watch us here at WWDBTV. Great studio run by Mr. John Stiles, who puts out these shows every week in an expedient manner so you can get them. Watch us, like us, continue to win in the NFL, and use what you want from us, and talk to your friends and do what you do. But God bless. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the NFL, and thanks for being great followers.
it. See y'all.